Guys, I'm Shann, and I'm going to give myself a little testimony about my life and where I've been, what God has done. Yeah, it's definitely been a long journey. Well, basically, I guess I have a lot of notes. Hopefully, I can read through my notes and not skip too much, but this time. So yeah, I was born and raised in Montana, up north. All over the state actually until the 4th grade. But yeah, in my youth there was definitely physical abuse and sexual abuse and all that stuff, like probably most everybody else had to deal with, and emotional. And yeah, I had a pretty rough childhood. So it wasn't the best. I don't remember a lot of it. I guess some people can say I can remember when I'm 3 years old, 4 years old. I couldn't even tell you. Maybe 6, 7 years old, I can finally start to remember some things. But, that's what trauma does. It shuts you down. It shuts down things until God brings healing, But yeah, God's done a lot of healing in me. So in the fourth grade is when we moved back up to the farm up in Joplin, Inverness, where I'm from, up on the High Line. That's basically where I was raised. Just living up there, 4th through high school. As I went to high school, little farming towns, and so yeah, just because of all the stuff I've been through, I stuttered really bad. I don't know, maybe you hear it sometimes, but yeah, I couldn't say a few words, even 2 or 3 words in a sentence at a time. I couldn't even say, because I had a lot of emotions, a lot of anger, a lot of anxiety. It's just I was always getting teased, and so then I make it worse because it just wasn't good. I had a bad self-image of myself. Even people would try to like me. I just didn't know how to receive it, or didn't think I was good enough. I just didn't do a whole lot, I guess. And freshman in high school, I went to, I guess, my first little kegger, had drinks and whatever, whiskey and beer, and that was mixed, and I puked a lot that night. But as far as I can remember, I think. But no, and that's where I think I got introduced to a porn. Of course, the kids, they bring out their porns and pornos. I didn't know what that was, but it really, for me, it really hit it. It really switched and really just sucked me in. Somebody else might be alcohol or drugs or whatever, pot or whatever. That stuff didn't interest me. There's guys all over around me doing coke and pot and acid, whatever. I just drank and did my whiskey in high school, and I just did it just to be around people, but I didn't have a lot of friends. The only really thing that got me through high school was basketball, sports. I played basketball all the way through. That's really what kind of helped me get through it, because that's where I could take out my energy and my frustrations, just get out there and run and just play. And I love basketball. I did some other sports. I did football for a little bit, and I did some track, but yeah, I just worked at the farm, and there was no local McDonald's. That was 50 miles away. So when you're a farm kid, you just do a lot of farming, do a lot of tractors and trucks and all that stuff. So that's what I did, and just try to just live. I wanted to die. I did. I wanted to run. All these thoughts that ran through my head, but it was not, but I got through it somehow. I don't know how, but I guess with God, must have been God that helped me through it, because I was raised in church, but we go to church every Sunday, but that was it, just went to church. I didn't have a relationship or anything. And then And then in college, when I finally got out of high school, went to college, and that's when I started, I guess, some things started to change a little bit with me. You know, of course, I had counseling in school, and when I was younger, a lot of counseling and stuff, and for all kinds of things. But then I started I guess I got better grades, and I just started to not be so shyful, I guess. I started to kind of date a little bit, tiny bit, and but still, I just still didn't like myself a whole lot. Just, you know, and that porn stuff, just all that stuff, I was just drawn into. I have a hard, again, it was just there. So I didn't know how to stop those thoughts. You know, that back in your, those thoughts and those desires were they're just pulling out of me. It was just crazy. I didn't know what was going on. But but that's when I went to college. I had an aunt, an uncle that lived in the same town in Great Falls. And my aunt and uncle, they're the ones that really. They were strong Christians. They were in YWAM. They traveled the world and did all this and that as missionaries, and you know, and that's really what got me. He helped me a lot. So yeah, he took time to really help me and really love me. I know, I guess my parents probably did too, I guess, but I just, you know, when you're a kid and your parents, you don't really want to listen to all the anger and hate and stuff, just, you know, but yeah, and then I started going to his church, to their church, and then I did a weekend retreat, and that's what started to change my life. I just received the Lord then, and then the stuttering slowly stopped. Slowly got better as I received the Lord, as I started to pray in tongues. So we talked about that here, and it wasn't, for me, my life is not an easy process. Some people can go from sinning and not sinning in 3 seconds and just all of a sudden they're totally changed. For me, it wasn't. You know, it was a battle. It was a battle for a long time. And then, even though I got saved and I got spirit-filled, I still had those same porn issues and all that stuff. It was there, but I didn't know how to deal with it yet, I guess, in a way. But I still love the Lord. I would read the Bible and, and do my best. And then I moved to Boise, Idaho, as they say there. But and then I met some people that knew how to pray for people, that understood deliverance and understood healing and prayer, and that started to really change my life so much more. Got more freer and more healing. You know, but that's when I went to Russia a few times. I've been to other countries and as missionaries, and God allowed me to go, even though I still had some issues. I wasn't perfect, but He still let me go and pray with people and see the world. I saw all over all these countries. God, it was God that allowed me to go, because I couldn't have done it on my own. And yeah, it was hard at times, but it was still wonderful to be a part of what God was doing. But yeah. So it's living, when you're in the flesh, you're definitely in the flesh, but when you get in the Spirit, you can definitely tell the scenes that when God begins to move and you're getting the Spirit, and it's like, wow, this is what, it was so cool. But then once you get back in the flesh again, it's like, oh no, all the addictions, whatever the voices and stuff, they're still there. It was so hard. Yeah. It was. But yeah, so that's, I gotta read my notes. But and that's when I actually started really reading the Bible. It took me. I went into YWAM. God let me go into YWAM, and it was before that too. But it took me 2 years to read the Bible from cover to cover for the first time, because I kept falling asleep. You know, Satan, he'll do anything he can to keep you from learning anything, and he fought me tooth and nail. Speaking in tongues, he fought me. It was no matter every little step. I took baby steps, and they were still. For me, it was the hardest things to do. But still to get in the Word, to read it, I still enjoyed it, and I loved it, but man. And then the second time I chose to read the Bible, hey, it took me 1 year. So yeah, I improved. You know, I could stay awake a little longer. As we move with God, He does the work, and it's all about Jesus. I couldn't have done this without Him. I know that. But yeah, and then after Boise, I was at a company there for 10 years, Micron, whatever, working, doing my thing, and then I got laid off, and then, everybody was laying off then, back in 2008, 2009, the big recession hit. So I just decided then I come back to Montana. I guess I've been here 13, 14 years, but of course, my dad had a triple bypass. That was the one main reason that he had open heart surgery, and they needed my help on the farm. I knew how to do basically everything, so I can just drive truck. And my little brother, I just helped where I could. But that was 2 summers. Okay, I'm enough. I definitely had enough farming. I can do it, but it's not my first choice, I guess. I dealt with a lot of allergies too, hay fevers and this and that. So I was on pills again. But God, even though I can tell though going through this that God did heal me in my allergies too, because when I went back, I wasn't on the pills as much. I wasn't on the shots. It's like, wow, God does, because you don't know until you go back to those situations and see how your body reacts. But yeah, so it's like, wow, that's cool, God. Amen. So even though we're going through stuff, as we're seeking Him, putting our eyes on Him, we just go day by day, and that's all we can do. And just, yeah, so it's definitely, of course, I moved to Missoula then, 2 years after, and then, so I've been here, 11, 12 years, I guess, maybe now. So yeah, the first few years of being here, I couldn't find a job. It was hard, part-time jobs and temp jobs, but now I finally got a job. I've been there for over 6 years, and it's like that was a struggle, just finding a job, and then I started coming to CR when I was Victory in Recovery VR, I guess. So I started coming here a few years after I was, it's just kind of weird, but because I knew I needed help. I just didn't want to admit it. I didn't know as much. I didn't want to, because the enemy, those voices were saying, oh, if people knew what your issues was, no one's going to like you, no one's going to love you, and that's those lies that I had, my whole life. That's why maybe I pushed people away, because, was probably, I'm sure it was part of the reason, but insecurities and fears, and, but we can't live that way. It's making that choice, and then coming to CR, and then, so yeah, and then that's definitely, was it in 2020? in 2019, I definitely had some good times and some bad times. I got married, and then and then that didn't last very long. And then in 2020, in January is when I finally had to make the decision for myself, was to actually admit, step one, admit that you have a problem, and actually begin to. So I went to another 12-step group outside of CR, or Victory and Recovery, whichever one you want to call it. But and that set me that freed me up in a way that I couldn't have known to be that kind of freedom, because there's other people that had the same kind of issues, or that, and as we tell their stories, it's like, wow, if they can last 2 or 3 years, being sober, whatever that word, I can do that too, with God's help. So I started that journey, and for the first 3 months or so, 2 or 3 months, I didn't hardly sleep, because I chose, I don't want that cycle, you can break free for a month or a few weeks and you're back in it again, just with anything, that cycle. I was tired of the cycle. I was tired of living a lie. I was tired of living a lifestyle, and I wanted to be free. I wanted God. But it takes, I find, it finally takes us to make a choice too. And of course, God wants to help us. God is there. He never leaves us or forsakes us, right? Amen. That's what the word says anyway, somewhere. But so the Bible it's true, but we have to walk by faith. We have to step out, and that's when, it was the hardest. So that year was the hardest year of my life. Going through that and going through the whole process of everything else that I was going through too. A lot of stuff that year, but I'm thankful that Lord, that God allowed me to go through that, to know what it is to get some freedom. With God, all things are possible. Amen. It's the Lord that changed me. He's the one that gets all the good glory, because He did it. I couldn't have done it without Him. So it's just you'll have to remember, it's one day at a time. Some of you that are still going through stuff, it's one day at a time. That's all I could do. And worship for me was worship. I have a keyboard. I play keyboard. I play a djembe, and worship is what helps me to get through those hard times. Just to worship God and just feel His glory and His presence. It's only that really helped me a lot. Amen. That's for me, and that's what I did, and that really. So I spent a lot of time on the keyboard and worship, because it was So there's definitely so I'm so thankful for what God's done to help me through. Even though I don't have hard times or hard days or hard weeks, we all do. But it's just knowing that forgiveness, God's there to forgive us and to lift us up. We might fall 7 times, but He still picks us up. Amen. He's always there. He still talks to me even though I mess up. He still sits. So, He hasn't left me. So I'm very thankful for that. Isaiah 12, that's about giving thanks. That chapter has really helped me a lot. I'm very thankful for that chapter. To give thanks to the Lord, in all things, to give thanks and to praise Him, and to worship Him, to praise Him. And then another verse lately I've been thinking about, 1 John 2:16, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Those are the 3 things that we have to be watch out for, because those 3 things can sneak in on us, and it's always being aware. Okay, is those thoughts or things, is that a lust, or is that a pride, or is that what's going on? But so that's helped me, even though. But but there's temptations are still there. It's just it's what we do with them.
Amen.
You know, I was almost 2 years now sober, I guess, or but so I'm very thankful for about that. So that's basically, yeah. So God's doing good. I'm doing so much better, and I have a lot of people in my life that has helped me a lot. So I'm very thankful for the mentors in my life, for the awesome pastors. So that's all I got. Thank you.